Welcome to the Christie Taylor Show. I'm your host, Christie Taylor. And on today, I am looking forward to a conversation with a licensed therapist because I tell you, here in this month of May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month, I never tire of speaking about mental health. And on today, I'm super excited that Charese Josie, also known as the Insightful Introvert, is a licensed therapist who provides counseling, coaching, and consulting to high achieving women leaders who feel invalidated and misunderstood. Through one on one counseling, women's wellness workshops, group coaching, and speaking engagements, Charese provides a transformational experience for high achieving women to trust their judgment again, build confidence, and strengthen personal and professional relationships. Charese has been featured in Cosmopolitan, Shape, and the Lily, the Washington Post, amongst other print media. She has also spoken at women's wellness retreats on radio stations and has been featured a guest on numerous podcasts. Through weekly social media platforms, Charese engages with this population to provide a mindset shift on how to navigate complex relationships to reduce stress and pressure. Now, after working with Charese, women have given themselves permission to take breaks, set healthy boundaries, and effectively communicate their needs to build healthy personal and professional relationships. Charese lives with her loving husband of 11 years and two daughters, and I had the joy of meeting her on Clubhouse. Welcome, Charese, to the Christie Taylor Show.
Thank you.
Well,
it's so nice
first
to
of
be
all,
here.
it's such an honor to meet you. And during this month of May, mental health awareness, I'm grateful that the calendar fell where you could be a part of this month to talk about mental health and also more specifically your target, high achieving women. So let's kind of dive into, give me a little bit of who you are, where you're from, and how did you get into this space?
Yes, I'm Charese. I am a military child. So anytime someone asks me where I'm from, California, Japan, Virginia is where I live the longest. I'll call Virginia my home. And I got into this work of working with high achieving women because I realized that I am she, I am her, but I didn't realize it when I was in that space. And so I grew up doing all the things that I was taught to do with my parents, go to college, get a good job, education, and then life should be great. I said, all right, I did all those. I was like, well, why am I still tired? I'm making $30,000. Let me check the date and this due date. Something is off. But I continued on that path. And I'm thinking the more I elevate in corporate, working with the government, being a clinical supervisor, the more I elevate, I should achieve this finally. And I kept achieving, kept growing, but I'm still missing something. There's still some part of me where happiness just was not landing in my lap. I went to therapy and I really didn't know what I needed in therapy. I went to therapy. I said, I feel stuck. I was a supervisor for the government. I worked for the Navy, supervising other licensed clinicians. I said, I don't know what I need, but I need something. And I remember my therapist saying, you need to get out of that job. I'm like, well, who just leaves a government job? Like, who does that? Like, I was like, no, sir, I need another answer. Like, this is not going to help me. And I'm in church one time, and at the end of our service, my pastor, who happens to be my father-in-law, but my pastor, we always say it's prayer requests. Anyone have any prayer requests? And I would notice a theme of women raising their hands and saying something that was really harsh, grief or just something just really traumatic. And as soon as they would say it and they would sit down, they would smile. Hey, baby, God bless you. Have a good day. And I'm thinking, didn't you just say that so-and-so passed away? Didn't you just say that? And I said, I am not the only woman in this room hurting.
Right.
I know I'm not the only woman in this room hurting. So I started a women's wellness workshop in my church. We did 4 Saturdays, just women. And we had some hard conversations. We laughed, we cried, and I'm about transformation. Like mindset is great, feeling empowered is great, but I want you to leave with something. And so I want them to leave with a different mindset of how they came in. And somebody wrote on their evaluation, they said, do you have a private practice? And I'm thinking, I didn't even think that far. I was just hoping somebody's going to show up and enjoy this. I didn't even think that far. And I said, the next time I do this, I'm going to have a space for those people who say, I want to continue my journey on. And my business was born from there. And so I started with
Mm,
therapy knowing I'm stuck and I need something. I don't know the answer, but let me open my mind and my environment and start to look at things different because the answer is here. I'm just not
right.
paying attention. I'm stuck in my world. I'm stuck in my cycle. And I said, I'm not the only one doing that. And so I started to
Mhm.
channel other high achieving women who also is in that same, who do I go to when I'm feeling stuck? Who do I reach out to? Who when I'm feeling lost, when I'm feeling like I'm failing and my marriage or my relationship is not going well, where do I go? This is a space that I created for that.
Right. Wow. So the name of your private practice is Charese L. Josie.
It's CJ Counseling and Consulting Services is the name of my private practice. Yeah.
Wow. So born out of your own personal frustration, helping out women in church led to your private practice. So, at what point did you take your therapist advice and leave the job, though?
I left the job. First, before I left the job, I had to get clarity because I wanted to make sure that I was not running, that I'm leaving healed. So I stayed
Leaving
in the job.
healed. Oh
Yeah, I
wow,
had to make,
leaving healed.
yes,
Wow,
yes. That was
that's
very important because I didn't want to take that job into the next phase of my life. And what sometimes is misunderstood is we think it's about that job. No, it's about how I showed up in that job and how I navigated relationships. And I was so depleted that I wasn't handling anything. I was just literally just trying to survive and function every day. I said, until I get to a point in this job that I can find a sense of wholeness, then I'm ready to move forward. And so I created some boundaries in the job. And what that looked like, I'm stuck, right? I'm telling my supervisor, and she's very supportive. She's listening. I know you're going through a lot. I know we're short staffed. She's very supportive in that moment. But 2 hours later, she sent me an email. Did you get this done? I'm thinking, didn't we just have a conversation? And then I realized, why am I asking her permission to take care of me? I was like,
Ooh,
I don't need her permission to take care of me.
understood.
And then what yeah, and once I realized that I don't need to ask permission to take care of me, that released some pressure off of me.
Mm.
Because I'm
Now, for that, Charisse, I want to
you know,
jump in here. What does taking care of you look like in the workplace? Oftentimes, we think of self care, particularly women, hair and
yeah.
nails done, massage, girl trips. But you're talking about where you're making your livelihood, your money, navigating the politics of a workplace. How do you take care of yourself in that environment?
So I view those things as maintenance, right? Get my nails done and those are just maintenance things I think as women, we enjoy doing. But actually my self-care is how I feel emotionally. Am I able to cope with relationships and have some healthy dialogues? So what specifically I did is one, I stopped asking her permission to take care of me. I would come to work on time. I'm leaving on time. I'm not staying late. I was taking my
Mm,
lunch breaks, right? Because before I have all this work to do, and as soon as I finish this one thing, then I'm going to do. No, I'm
right.
going to do it right now. 11 o'clock is my time to take my lunch break. This is what my lunch break, right? And I'm unavailable from 11 to 1. Don't nobody bother me. Now, my lunch break was 30 minutes, right? But emotionally, I'm unavailable from 11 to 1. I
Yeah,
may do a little things that I choose to do, right? So between 8 and 11, you got my full attention. Between 1 and 4, you got my full attention. 11 and 1, I'll give you what I can because that's my break time, right? And I would
understood.
let her know. And what I do, I would let her know what I was doing because I am respectful. I do have good work ethic, but let me
Mhm.
let her know this is what's going on. This is what I was able to get done. This is still on the table. I'll try my best to do it on this day. If I can't, I will keep you updated. That's me honoring my feelings. That's me taking care of myself. That's me saying, this is what I'm able to do. And then there's times when I needed her to show up as a supervisor. And
Ooh,
I wasn't scared to let her know professionally, right? So I would say to her, this part I'm taking care of. This specific part, I need you to step up. And this is exactly how I need you to handle this. I can't do that part because I was a supervisor, but she was director. She has a different voice than I did. Right. So
mhm.
if I would keep in that high achieving, I got it mindset, okay, let me take on this problem too. When I realized, wait a minute, this one is not my ministry. This is hers. I just needed to remind her
Which
that it's hers.
oftentimes we do, Charisse, when we want to prove that we're valuable. that we're valuable to the company, the organization, the relationship, the circle of friends. Oh, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
without even being asked, just stepping in and doing that.
Right.
Oh, this is powerful. So creating the
Yeah.
boundaries and the true self-care is number one, working within the time frame of the job, taking the
Mhm.
breaks, both lunch, nourishment, mental as well, and then being able to say what live within the confines of your job description and not take it on other people's work. That's
Right.
really good. And as a
Right.
high achieving person who's constantly seeking validation, and I like in your bio, you said that the very thing that we suffer with is not feeling validated
Mhm. Mhm.
when you're doing extra to be validated. Explain the
Right.
psychology of that.
Right. The story that we tell ourselves, I have good work ethic, I'm responsible, I'm a loyal employee, this is why I'm going to do this. What we actually need, we need connection, we need validation, we need somebody to tell us we did a good job. And that doesn't always have to be verbal. It's different, right? Some people want to actually verbally be told, oh, you did a great job. Some people are like, tell me in my paycheck. Some people are
Yeah.
telling me in this that I got this promotion, right? In this new job title. Either way, we still want
Mm.
some type of connection or validation. But our ego tells us that no, this is my work ethic. These are my morals. This is how I am. And look how they're taking advantage of me. No, you really want
Mm.
something emotionally, but it's easier to say if I work hard enough, then the responsibility really isn't on me. It's on my supervisor, it's on this system, it's on all these other things. I was like, well, what do I need? Well, right. And I need to evaluate what exactly did I need. I was like, I don't need to work myself over for this job that I'm still doing the same thing. Right. And so I put in these boundaries and this is what I'm able to do. This is what I'm not able to do. And really unapologetically, meaning I don't need to over explain it. That was the end of my
Mm.
sentence. That was it.
Wow, Charisse, I'm thinking as you're talking that I needed you when I started my radio career. I needed you when I did because I recently went to. I'm now moving into the digital space, TV show, podcasting, and consulting, and I attended an event. One of my other media colleagues was hosting for podcasters, and I was jovial, having fun. And she jokingly said, as we were leaving, she said, "I didn't know that you were this fun." And we worked at the radio company for years together. I said, "What? You didn't know this?" She said, "You were
Mhm,
such a workaholic."
mhm,
And I chuckled. I said, "Yeah, those years I would work the time span in radio that you have day parts like 3 to 4 hours each shift. I would oftentimes be there before my shift started. Another person would come in on another radio station, and I would be there even when another personality would be leaving. So I would oftentimes be in the building for 3 shifts, finding things to do, being extra, doing the most, because I wanted to prove that I was grateful to be there. And I loved radio. So I'm like, yeah, I can put in this time. I'm not married. I don't have any children, but wow, but not feeling validated because I did the most.
right.
I needed you. I really see that because even when we pursue our passions, I'm hearing you say set boundaries even on your own self. Yeah,
Mhm,
and not
mhm,
let your passions run you. That's how I'm internalizing part of this
right,
conversation. Can you
right.
speak to that for me, Charisse?
I'm sorry. One thing that you said that I think is important for us to remember is that we're not giving up more time than we're willing to lose. And we give up more time and then we get resentful of the time that we gave up, but we didn't recognize that we weren't willing to lose that. Right.
Ooh.
So when we come in early, if I'm staying late, if I'm giving my lunch break, am I going to be resentful that I did that? Probably so, because what I'm going to get in return other than the same paycheck had I worked my normal hours, right?
Right.
I'm getting
Mhm.
nothing. And so I learned a lesson with that with another job that I did leave before I went to the government. And, I changed the systems there. Everything was running great. People respected me, but they didn't like me, right? They respected me, but they
Ooh.
didn't like me. And when
Oh, wow.
I gave this long, ridiculous notice because here I am thinking I'm so doggone important, right? So yeah, here's my month and a half notice, something just ridiculous. So I did the whole month and a half because I'm thinking I'm important. They need me, right? I didn't change the game in here. And the day before my last day, my supervisor said, "Today's your last day, not tomorrow." I'm like, I done gave a whole month and a half. Why? What happened? He said, because your replacement starts tomorrow and they need your desk. And I said, oh,
Wow.
I gave y'all so much time and I'll never do that again to another job. But I did
Wow.
when I went to the Navy, right? I really did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then it impacted me so much that I couldn't function. I mean, I was really in a bad place. That's why I went to therapy and I said something needs to be different. Now there's
Mm.
very clear boundaries when I go to work. And I'll tell people, I left the Navy. I've been working for the Coast Guard for about 2 years. And I
Mm-hmm.
was saying something in the clubhouse room about how my new supervisor was saying something to me. And someone said, well, just be careful, with that supervisor. He sounds like he's trying to test you. And I told her, all supervisors are going to try to test you when you start.
Yes.
Everyone wants to know where they fit in. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
wants to know how far they can take it, and not maliciously. We all just want to know what our place is in a relationship, what our place is in an environment. So we have to figure those things out. It's not always malicious. I said, I don't expect anything less than someone to
Mm-hmm.
try to figure out what their place is in my life, just as much as it's my responsibility to make sure I'm clear to you about where you fit in my life and then how much I can give you and how much I need. This is not my ministry. I can't do this much for you. Right? It's the same responsibility.
Now, Charese, I love the fact that you spoke to the truth that when we're in work environments, yeah, leadership is going to see how far they can push because they're looking at productivity and ratings, revenue, and cash flow. They're like, how much work can I get out of this workforce to increase the bottom line? And
Right.
it's our responsibility, the self-care. I like how you said that, is to make sure that we're working within the confines of the job description, the time, taking the breaks that are legally there in place
Right.
for reset, and not feeling compelled out of our need to be validated for external validation. So I appreciate that point. Now, you spoke of fitting into the environment or relationship, and everything you're saying sounds such like a personal relationship. Do you often find that women speak about that as their jobs or their careers or their professions is like another relationship?
Well, what's so interesting that I'll ask people, what made you seek me out to work with me? And they say, because you work with high achieving women leaders or that, for that reason. I'm like, okay, great. What would you like to work on? Has nothing to do with them being a leader. Usually all my clients, I could safely say all of them want to work on some form of a relationship. Has nothing to do with how do I can become a better leader. Everything has to do with the relationship. And I don't even
Because
know
I
that they made
do
that
you think
connection.
it's I'm sorry, Charisse, do you think that's because as in the society in which we live, we feel that even though we are high achieving professionally, that oftentimes that we're sacrificing our feminine nurturing essence for that achievement, and our personal relationships or friendships are suffering?
I think we don't know where it fits in. I
Ooh,
think we I think we need to
okay.
do everything, right? We need to do the job,
Mm,
we need to do the home, the kids, we need to find a mate, we need to keep the mate, we need to do the dishes, we need to be a cook, we need to, do whatever we need to do in the bed, we need to look good, we need to keep ourselves together. It's like, well, how am I supposed to fit this in? Right? And so
ooh,
that's the question. Help me do this better. Help
mm,
help me be better. Right? And so that's when we kind of get into the need because the ego says, I'm not doing enough. Right?
mhm,
But the need is saying, but you're not even talking to me.
mhm,
Right? The need's like, I don't want all this stuff. Right? Because I can
mhm,
work and I can make everything great. But am I going home feeling fulfilled? No, I might go home
mhm,
and feel like I had a good day, but I don't feel
mm.
fulfilled because the need is like just being left. And so when I work with women and high achieving women, it's like, let me help you first understand your need. And it's interesting, even when I would say, talk to me about how you felt, they'll give me a story. And I say, I love the story, but I heard no feeling.
Wow. Oh
And,
my goodness.
and typically what I'll get, okay, can you give me an example? I said, yeah,
Mhm,
let's go through it. Let's understand what a
mhm,
feeling is. Let's understand what your feeling is in this situation. And I will walk them through that, right? And let them, and they're like, oh, I thought I was mad, but I guess I was actually sad. Now
yes.
break that down for me. For what were you sad about? right? Now they're able to put more feeling words. And it's funny when they leave sessions, they're like, I don't even know how we got here. Didn't we start talking about this? I was like, yeah, I know. Because we tapped into that need that got no attention. It needs attention. And you need to understand it, because then we have more clarity about what fits for us and what things that maybe don't fit for us. And we're okay. We don't feel like we failed anymore. Right.
Charese, one of the points that you bring out in your work is need versus ego. Can you give us some insight into that?
Yeah. Our ego are the things that we tell ourselves that we need to do this to feel good. Right. And so for high achieving women or anyone, is the stuff that says, I have to do this because then that means I must be a good person. I must go to college. I must get a job. I must get married. I must have children. I must make this certain amount of money. All those things kind of feed our ego to tell us that we're doing a good job and that we deserve something. But the need is actually more vulnerability. I actually need connection. I actually fear some things. I'm actually grieving some things. And I haven't touched into that. But we think if we achieve enough, if we do enough, if we do all the things that someone says, hey, good job, you did great, right? You're doing a great job working 2 and 3 jobs and taking care of the kids and the home and your spouse and running the business. I'm thinking, what are we celebrating? Like what exactly is a compliment here, right? But the need is, what am I getting from that? And am I monitoring that need, or do I just want to achieve?
Now, Charese, I want to throw this in because you're talking about high achieving women. How much of your practice runs along racial lines when it comes to high achieving women?
I get majority African American females. I have maybe a handful of Caucasian females. I don't really know the difference. Sometimes I think in our culture now, people think, oh, if you Black, you must work with Black. And I had a friend that said that, I thought your workshop was just for Black women. I'm like, what made you say that? And she said, I don't know. But yeah.
But the one reason why I wanted to bring the racial piece in more specifically is, culturally speaking, is there still leftover guilt when we're not doing a lot?
It is definitely for the Black woman, right? We need to do more. I think what the difference I find between the handful of Caucasian women I have is Black women are more secretive about what they need. Like my clients and my followers are very silent. I might get an inbox of someone that I've never seen your name anywhere before. And they'd be like, I think you can help me. And I'm thinking, I've never seen. So it's very silent, where some of the Caucasian clients that I have, they're not as silent as what they need. They are silent, but they're okay with being vocal about what they need. They're okay with talking to their family members, right? But for the Black community, it's more, this is between you and I. And this is as far as it goes.
Yeah. One of the things, I was in my 20s living in Detroit, and I ran up there hanging out with my musician friends. And in my 20s, just pretty much wandering, because I dropped out of college, which was supposed to be in media, and ended up around my musician friends because I could sing, and totally was just off track of my purpose. And it was a friend of mine who wasn't in the music industry, wasn't in entertainment. And she and I was talking incessantly just about feeling lost and stuck and just that. And she said, you need to go to therapy. And because I grew up Black, Southern, churchy, it was like, no, we don't do therapy. The secrecy of I need help oftentimes keeps us from receiving the help we need. And I was wondering, when we're high achieving, you don't want to. I remember crying in the studio my last leg of my career because I no longer wanted to do radio, but I felt guilty that I no longer wanted to do radio when other people would love to do radio. I just wanted to change, explore, and expand who I am, and not just be who I was. And I'm still on that journey of evolution, but I give myself space and grace to speak to it now. So I'm grateful for this conversation today. Speaking of some of the fun things that you do, I want to just kind of share this very quickly.
Please join me in welcoming Charese Josie.
own journey.
Bloom where you're planted. I totally love that. And for those, as we come to the wrap up, Charese, share how we can work with you both in counseling and consulting.
Oh, absolutely. You can find me on my website, cjcounselingandconsulting.com. I'm on all social media platforms at Charese Josie. One-on-one counseling, also setting up some consulting, 45-day, just you and I. We're just going to work through whatever you want to work through. So we'd love for you to connect with me. You can reach out on my website or through Instagram or Facebook, and we're going to get you set up with that. So would love to work with my high achieving women leaders.
Thank you so very much. I have totally enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to us hanging out on Clubhouse in those PR media rooms. I'm really appreciative of you allowing me to have you on the Christie Taylor Show. And any last words before we go?
Yeah, I would want to thank you for this opportunity. This has been wonderful. And I also want to thank anyone that's listening. Sometimes when we say the word help, it's kind of like, I don't need help, I got it. Consider that you want to get more information. Information is always good. Information is powerful. So if you say, I want to get more information, come from an empowerment lens. And I want to make sure we come from a healing perspective. So if you just need some more assistance, some more information, call me and say, I would like more information, and let's work together.
I like that. I'm going to start saying it like that. Yes. Yeah. Hey, just get some more information on how you can cope with that situation. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
We need some more information. All right. This has been a joy. Charese L. Josie, appreciating you being here on the Christie Taylor Show. We are inside the Taylor Tilton Hour. Stay tuned for more amazingness from Tina Tilton.